Did you ever feel drained after visiting a place that used to lift your spirits? Years ago, as we get older, some places that once felt familiar begin to take more from us than they give. And the hardest part, most people don't realize it until their health, peace of mind, or dignity has already been chipped away little by little. That's why today's video is so important. Because it's not about isolating yourself, it's about protecting yourself. This isn't about fear, it's about awareness, about drawing wiser boundaries, especially in this season of life between 65 and 80. Your body, your heart, and your mind all need different kinds of rest, connection, and safety than they did decades ago. But most seniors keep showing up in the wrong places, out of habit, guilt, or the simple hope that things will feel the same. And sometimes those places aren't dangerous in the obvious way, they just chip away at you. Slowly, emotionally, mentally, physically, until you start feeling heavier, lonelier, or more tired than you can explain. You might already be feeling it. You go to a certain spot and afterward your legs ache, your chest feels tight, or your mood crashes. You wonder if you're just getting old. But it's just aging. Sometimes it's about the where, not the when. The truth is, there are places that drain us without warning, places that slowly take away our peace, health, and self-respect. In today's video, I'm going to walk you through 6 specific places that you need to stop visiting as you get older, because you've lost value, but because you've gained wisdom. Each one of these comes from real experience, and knowing them could spare you heartache, exhaustion, and deep regret. Later on, and before we start, have you ever stopped going somewhere even if others said you should keep going? What made you walk away? Let me know in the comments below. Now let's begin. Place 1. The hospital. When you don't really need to be there, one of the first places many seniors need to stop visiting unnecessarily is the hospital. Now, I want to be very clear, this doesn't mean ignoring real medical needs. If your hurts, your vision suddenly blurs, or you feel lightheaded, get checked. But what I'm talking about is going to the hospital out of habit, fear, or loneliness. And yes, that happens more often than people realize. Many people between the ages of 65 and 80 were brought up believing that if something feels off, even if it's just a little bit, you should go to the hospital. However, as you get older, hospitals can become stressful, full of strange noises, rushing, poor lighting, long waits, and a lot of emotional weight. Over time, simply being in that environment can wear down your nervous system and sap your sense of calm. He didn't have a lot of social life after his wife passed away, so whenever he felt a little tired or had a minor ache, he would go to the hospital occasionally once a week. Over time, the doctor stopped taking his symptoms seriously, rushed him through pricey tests just in case, and sent him home with prescriptions that didn't work well together. One day, he was admitted to the hospital not because he was sick, but rather because of problems with those drugs. And your body starts to associate those locations with illness, fear, or helplessness. The deeper problem here is psychological. It's about the need for reassurance as we age and become more conscious of our limitations. When you're mentally well, you begin to perceive yourself as weak, dependent, or fragile simply by spending too much time in that environment. Your body follows once that identity becomes ingrained in your mind. The hospital becomes more than simply a place for healing. When you get a peculiar feeling in your chest that no longer seems like indigestion, but more like a potential heart attack. However, this temporary consolation comes at a long-term cost. Regular visits to a reliable primary care physician and home health checks are excellent strategies to monitor your health. You deserve calm, clarity, and the confidence to know when you do and do not need help. You can find the grounding you need by paying attention to your body's natural rhythms and occasionally by simply talking to a friend, counselor, or even your pharmacist. You are not your age or your fear. Second, let's talk about a place that may seem familiar and innocuous, but is actually quietly turning into one of the worst places to be after 65. The crowded supermarket on Saturday or Sunday afternoons may not seem dangerous, but bear with me for a moment. The problem is that your physical balance isn't what it used to be at this age. It could take longer for your eyes to adapt to changes in color and movement. Your joints get stiffer, and busy places that were once a small annoyance abruptly become obstacle courses with people pushing carts by. Fluorescent lights hum overhead, announcements reverberate off the walls, and children run around tall shelves that you have to climb over or hunch beneath. It's not only exhausting, it's overstimulating. I recall Judy, 74, who used to enjoy grocery shopping and claimed it made her feel independent and productive. However, after a few near misses, once when she slipped on a damp spot in the produce aisle and another time when a heavy cart struck her heel, She finally acknowledged that the risk wasn't worth it because one bad fall could result in months of recovery or worse, permanent loss of her mobility. Long checkout lines that cause tension, bulky bags, confusing layouts that change just when you're used to them. And by the time many seniors return home, they're exhausted rather than energized. A simple grocery run can leave you debilitated for the entire day, particularly if you have high blood pressure, arthritis, or simply are tired. Now let's discuss another hidden bill. Busy stores are a great place to catch colds, the flu, or even worse, a sneeze next to the produce aisle. When someone behind you in line coughs, your body, which is already taking longer to recover, faces a new challenge that goes beyond pathogens. Loud sounds, visual clutter, and packed aisles combine to cause cognitive overload. Your mental clarity and memory will deteriorate more quickly the more often you expose your brain to that kind of chaos. There's also a psychological aspect that many people ignore. Grocery stores used to be places where you felt capable. You had a list. You found your item. You managed your budget. But now when you're trying to read small labels, lift heavy items, and navigating a sea of shoppers who don't seem to see you makes you feel invisible, as if the world isn't made for you anymore. This gradual loss of confidence builds up, but there are wise substitutes. Nowadays, a lot of elders are shopping in the mornings on weekdays. You may take your time, ask for assistance, and walk around without feeling rushed because the stores are calmer and the personnel is less hurried. Some even make use of online grocery delivery services. If you've been pushing yourself through noisy, crowded stores to prove that you're still capable, take this as a sign that your worth has never depended on how many bags you carry or how quickly you finish the grocery run. If you're still watching this video and finding these insights valuable, please leave a comment number 2 below to let me know you're here. If you haven't subscribed yet, I suggest you do so and turn on the bell so you don't miss any video. It's not because they can't do it themselves, but rather because they choose not to waste their precious energy on chaos. Your assistance enables us to keep producing quality content that will educate and motivate you. Place 3 is the Stairfield Public Park, or Let's take a look at another area that appears to be serene and wholesome on the surface. For years, this area may have been your favorite place to go for a walk, meet friends, or simply get some fresh air. But after 65, especially as you get closer to 80, these places have hidden costs. Not many discuss it until it's too late. The problem is that older legs aren't as forgiving as they once were. Going downstairs puts a lot more strain on the knees than going up and up, which can hurt your heart and blood pressure more quickly than you think, especially in warm weather. Many of these parks were constructed long before accessibility was a concern, so there are hidden dips in the ground, cracked pathways, tree roots that you don't notice until your foot twists sideways. And to make matters worse, you might think, I've walked this trail for years. However, as your body changes, your reflexes slow down and your margin for error decreases, making that serene path a trap of false familiarity. One senior, Alan, 78, insisted that he was fine. He went on his usual weekend hike up his favorite hill trail, but halfway up, his foot got caught on an uneven step and he fell hard, breaking 2 ribs and bruising his hip. He hasn't been able to walk without a cane since. However, it's not just the physical danger, it's also the isolation. What if you go a little off your usual path and suddenly the landmarks don't look familiar? What if you deviate a little and suddenly your cognitive sharpness fluctuates during this stage of life? A 10-minute walk can quickly turn into a 40-minute detour, and these environments often push you to do just a little more than you should. You chase a hill for pride, and you don't stop when your body whispers enough. The shame on an emotional level, the annoyance in addition to the silent toll on your joints, the feeling of being less than might persist for months. If you already have arthritis or have had surgery in the past, every stride on uneven ground causes inflammation in your ankles, hips, and back. What begins as soreness today may turn into stiffness tomorrow and avoidance the following day. These effects don't go away overnight, so you might find yourself doing less over time as a result of a bad day on the trail you loved. Does that mean you should stop going out? No, nature is still one of the best medicines, but it does mean picking better routes. Seek out level walkways in indoor communal areas or gardens with benches and railings, both physically and symbolically. Adapting action to your reality, not your memory, is more important than avoiding it. Adjustment is wise, and it takes guts to declare, this used to serve me, but now I choose something better for who I am today. There will always be parks and trails, but your body, joints, and freedom are what you should always protect. The fourth location is the high-energy family gathering. Sometimes the most emotionally taxing places are right in your own family's living room, not far from home. High-energy family gatherings may seem innocuous and even happy, but if you're between 65 and 80, they can have a silent negative impact on your body and spirit, and no one talks about it because it's family. The children's activities, the noise and the talks that overlap. What once felt like warmth and life can now feel like chaos and pressure. You may find yourself smiling and nodding along with the noise, trying to keep up with stories or jokes that are told quickly and that you don't fully understand. After a while, you may feel exhausted and almost confused, as if your body is there but your mind hasn't caught up. The difficult issue is that many seniors force themselves to continue attending every event because they feel guilty, telling themselves, "This might be my last Thanksgiving, I should go." Or worse, if I don't, they'll think I'm selfish or ungrateful, but that silent self-sacrifice may cause resentment and gradually erode your serenity. There's also the deeper layer of feeling invisible at these events, when conversations may turn to subjects you're excluded from in tech jobs. Quick-witted jokes. One of the most agonizing feelings that elderly people silently bear is loneliness in a crowded space. You may feel as though you are physically present but emotionally absent from your own family's life. Not to mention the physical aspect of simply getting ready for these events. Cooking, driving, getting dressed and staying up late might exhaust you for days, leaving your legs swollen and your lower back hurting. When your sleep is disturbed, you're frequently left to heal in silence, while everyone else goes on as if nothing had occurred. After that, you may judge yourself, asking yourself, "Why can't I handle this anymore?" Or "I'm becoming a burden." However, if you find yourself returning home from these events, feeling more exhausted than nourished and more tense than happy, the truth is that your body is simply changing and requesting gentler rhythms, calmer surroundings, and smaller circles of genuine connection, rather than noisy rooms full of people trying to impress each other. Saying "not this time" is acceptable. You owe yourself honesty, not someone else's continuous presence. This could mean fewer visits, one-on-one lunches, or even just a phone call, but it doesn't mean you love them less. Rather, it means you love yourself more sensibly, and if they really care about you, they'll understand or at least learn to. Please let me know in the fourth comment below whether you're still watching this video and find these insights helpful. Whether you haven't subscribed yet, I suggest doing so and turning on the bell so you don't miss any more videos. With your aid, we can keep producing quality content to educate and uplift you. Let's go forward. 5. The late-night supermarket. Walking into a grocery store at night is reassuring because it's quieter, less crowded, and the fluorescent lights seem strangely peaceful. However, for people between the ages of 65 and 80, this late-night habit may be subtly endangering their safety, energy, and even independence. Let's start with the obvious: visibility. As our vision naturally deteriorates in low light as we age, walking through dark parking lots or shadowed aisles can increase the danger of falls, and driving at night becomes more difficult. After a long day of activities, errands, or even just a little social interaction, your body and brain start to wind down. However, many older adults push through and go shopping late to avoid crowds or not be a bother during the daytime, which selfless thinking often backfires. Your focus drops. Even a simple trip for milk can result in a bruised hip or worse, and those accidents often lead to longer hospital stays, rehab, and a chain of health events that seem to come out of nowhere. Despite the fact that stores are generally safe, crimes like parking lot theft or scams tend to occur more frequently during low traffic hours. Additionally, there is something unsettling about being alone in a large store at night. The quiet isn't always comforting, and you end up either forgetting what you came for or buying things you don't need. Seniors are often viewed as easy targets, and the last thing you want in retirement is to feel unsafe in public places. Financially speaking, it doesn't help either. Elderly people frequently report making impulsive, needless purchases of expensive prepackaged meals or snacks because they were too exhausted to think clearly or rushed to check their pantry. Over time, these late-night impulsive purchases gradually deplete a fixed retirement budget. What are the alternatives? Reclaim your early morning shopping time when your body is rested, your mind is clearer, and there is more staff accessible, which makes everything easier and helps you make better decisions. Receive more assistance, feel more secure, and be in a better emotional state to enjoy it. Perhaps even make grocery shopping a get-together with a buddy or neighbor. Gina, 72-year-old lady I know, used to go shopping every Siver,
I feel like I've taken back my time. It's not just safer, it's lighter. It feels like the day belongs to me again. She told me after dinner on Wednesday night, after her doctor persuaded her to switch to mornings after a minor fall in the parking lot. The little routines you build after 65 matter, and sometimes the safest thing you can do is listen to your energy. Not the clock play 6. Going to the doctor's office without a reason. This one may surprise you because you've likely spent decades developing a respectful, trustworthy relationship with your primary care physician, which is a good thing. However, after the age of 65, especially between the ages of 70 and 80, many people fall into a quiet trap where they visit the doctor too frequently without a clear reason. It usually begins innocently, with a minor ache here, a slight discomfort there, or just a nagging suspicion that something might be amiss. So you go in to check, but before long you find yourself going in every few weeks. Not because of an urgent situation, but rather out of fear of what might occur. When you visit the doctor too frequently, especially when you don't have any particular symptoms, you start to frame your life around illness rather than health and start searching for something to be wrong. The problem here isn't that you should seek help when you need it, but that too many medical visits can gradually change your perspective, from active aging to passive waiting. The twist is that if you look closely enough, you'll frequently find it. Although modern medicine is amazing, there are problems associated with it, such as false positive test results, needless prescription drugs, and the psychological toll of believing you are sicker than you actually are. One test results in another, and a single worry prompts a dozen appointments. Suddenly your mind is racing with worries, and your schedule is packed with medical visits. For many older folks, this tendency is driven by boredom or loneliness. While wanting a connection is normal and acceptable, the medical office isn't the best location to receive emotional support. It's no secret that some seniors start utilizing doctor visits as a means of talking to someone to be heard or to break up the week. Additionally, you run the risk of being classified as a frequent traveler by medical personnel, which could make you less credible when something is truly wrong. This can be disastrous when actual symptoms start to show up instead. Refocus your attention on health. Understand the distinction between necessary and unneeded checkups. Keep a health notebook. Record your symptoms, sleep, food and activity, and bring it to your scheduled physical once or twice a year, so your doctor can receive a comprehensive long-term picture of your health, rather than making sporadic appointments based on passing anxieties. And look to the community if you need care and discourse. Sign up for a senior center seplet with an older adult counselor, or perhaps ask an old acquaintance to volunteer. I once met Harold, an 81-year-old man who used to visit the clinic almost every other week after his daughter noticed that he was becoming more stressed, rather than less. She gently asked him why, and he replied, "I just want to make sure I don't miss anything." However, when they looked back at all of his tests together, every single one came back normal, indicating that what he really needed wasn't another checkup. If you're someone who keeps going to the doctor without a specific worry, ask yourself, what am I really looking for? He needed assurance, company, and trust in his body again. Please leave a comment in the 6th section below if you're still watching this video and find these insights helpful. If you haven't subscribed yet, I suggest doing so and turning on the bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support enables us to keep producing high-quality content that will educate and motivate you. Let's move on to our next thought. When it comes to what we teach our children, life after retirement can feel like a delicate balancing act between giving and holding, between love and boundary. It's not only about money or material possessions. It's also about setting boundaries to protect your quiet, your time, and your hard-earned wisdom. Many parents continue to give long after their children have grown up out of love and habit. But the truth is that giving too much too often, and too blindly, can sometimes take more than it gives. Which of these 6 places or habits most resonated with you? Were there any that you hadn't even thought of before? Perhaps you found yourself lending money, giving rides, or biting your tongue to avoid conflict. Or perhaps you've realized that your calendar is full but your energy is running low, and that the quiet resentment you've been feeling isn't ungratefulness, but rather your inner wisdom telling you it's time to defend your own space. Setting boundaries isn't selfish. Rather, it's a gift to both you and your kids. It teaches them respect, models strength, and lets you enjoy your golden years with dignity, clarity, and joy. Thank you for being here today. Please leave a comment below with one thing you learned today, and how you intend to apply it in your life. Your opinions are valued, so please feel free to share them. If you liked this video and found it useful, please like, subscribe, and share. Your support helps us keep producing quality material to educate and inspire you. Thank you for watching, and we hope to see you in the next video. Reading your comments gives us a lot of motivation and encouragement.